Hello YouTube, De-bodgery here. Welcome to EV Components Review. I now have in my possession a MakerX Go FOC G300 controller. This is VESC, which if nobody has figured it out by now, I'm definitely a big fan of VESC. It's only the best thing in motor control there is these days, so why you're not using VESC is a complete mystery to me, because you really ought to be. Anyway, yeah, all those people are out there that are, just swearing that they've got the best thing ever. Is it VESC? Oh, it's not? Okay, never mind. I mean, there's other things that are close or, of similar quality of motor control, like ASI. That's the full FOC suite, or Nuclear, that's also the full FOC suite. But VESC is all open source, whereas all those other things are not. They're proprietary. They're a closed system. And everything VESC is open source. Everybody is supposed to share everything about what they do. In which case, that's great for everybody, because whoever is developing what new thing, it eventually trickles down to everybody else, and all of that brain trust that's across the planet gets shared. And that's a good thing. And so, yeah, definitely like that this is VESC. Good job on that one, MakerX. All right, so a couple details about this. You've got this smooth bottom on the thing. This is not sufficient as a heatsink, not unless you're running it like, say, I don't know, 1,000 watts or 2,000 watts or something. But yeah, full power, you're definitely going to need to stick this to some large metal thing, like, say, a heatsink, because this is not a radiator. It's just not. Yeah, they could have helped some if, like, there was, like, a thermal gap filler in here to go across this edge to kind of help seal the two of them together. Or make a thermal path, and then the lid could possibly be part of the radiator, because it's all aluminum. Everything here is all CNC machined aluminum. Definitely like that. That's kind of cool. All right. You get some things with it, which is pretty cool. MakerX was thinking. I like attention to detail, and they did some cool stuff. So you get this pile of bits right here, and it came in that little Ziploc bag. And, you guys that watch my YouTube videos, you know that I have a bunch of controllers, right? And this is the first time in anything in a very long time that I've seen somebody include a pre-charge resistor, because that's what that's for. So you can put that across your breaker, you can put that across your contactor, or you could like put a separate connector with that on there, from battery plus through some other connector kind of a thing, so that your controller gently pre-charges. That's what this is for. And I saw this in that little bag. It's like, no way. I haven't seen something like that in, I don't know, since 2016. You still need pre-charge. Everybody flat out needs pre-charge. But to see somebody, a maker, actually say, we're going to include a pre-charge resistor in a package, is something that I have run into once before. Yeah, I mean, that's not a lot. And I haven't run into it anytime recent. All right, so let me show you a few other things that are in this package. So these little silicone washers, they sit around the brass studs to give you a wider surface area, so that when your ring terminals go down, you greatly reduce the chances of shorting against the shell with a ring terminal. So, again, an attention to detail. I can't tell you how many times I've taken apart a controller that's got brass studs and never had anything like this. Admittedly, most of them, your top is plastic and not aluminum, so you wouldn't need them for that. But still, good job, MakerX. Definitely like seeing stuff like that. And of course, they include ring terminals. So, there's 5 of them here. So there's battery plus and minus. There's your 3 phases. And these are decent quality ring terminals. I bought a kit of ring terminals on Amazon a while back. And they were just absolute crap. These are decent quality. So again, good job, MakerX. Can't fault that. The screws, I'm not super fond of Phillips head, but these are not super strong. This is a little bit better than, say, like what you get in KO Moto, but still they're just round studs that go down to the power stage board. So yeah, using Phillips head screws is probably going to help with that. Hey, look at that. I'm missing a screw. Hey, there's only 4 of them. Where's the 5th screw? Uh-oh. That's a problem. I literally dumped out the little bag right in front of me. Look at that. There's 4 screws in there. Oops. I don't know what this does. Yep, there's only one of those. Don't know what that's for. Oh wait, there's two of them. Yeah, I don't know what they're for. My assumption is they go in those two holes right there and there, but I'll talk about the connector situation in a minute. So I don't know how you're supposed to use these because there's no applicable way to use them. But yeah, I'm missing one of the screws for one of the brass terminals. They also gave you brass lock washers for putting under these screws to lock that all together. I'm not very fond of lock washers, split washers like this. They don't hold that well. They're not very reliable. And also, this lifts the screw head up from the ring terminal, so it's not flush like this. It's more lifted up like that a little bit. In which case, then your current path is reduced from your screw head to the ring terminal. So I would eliminate those. Every time I find split washers, I toss them in the trash. Instead, what I would do is put some thread locker on these threads, and when I screw them down, then I would have the whole screw head going down to the ring terminal, and that makes for a better connection. And the thread locker is going to do just every bit as good, if not better, than a lock washer. So yeah, definitely don't like split washers. Let me slide this stuff aside and talk about the other things. So in my next video, I'll take this out of the shell. Right now, I just want to talk about the stuff that comes with it. All right, so this is your main connector that comes in. This is a DB25 connector. It's been since the early 2000s, the last time I saw one of these things. Commonly used with parallel printers. If you know what that is, RS-232 communications back in the dark ages, when everybody was running dumb terminals, from Weiss or whatever, Altos, things like that. And you would have an RS-232 interface that would use a DB25 connector like this. Anyway, I haven't seen these things in forever. I figured that they were still around, but yeah, I hadn't seen them forever until I saw a G300, and it was like, huh, a DB25 connector. Anyway, these are not waterproof. They try to waterproof it with the silicone seal, but failed at it, and might as well just talk about that now. So anyway, you can see this is square, and they included these two little screws, which I assume is to secure this to the front of here, but there is no ears on here, no little through holes for a screw to go in to secure this connector onto here. It doesn't. So, if I stick this over here, see what I mean? The screw holes are not getting covered. So I guess, with that washer on there, you just kind of like trap it. Why did they just machine this piece to have two little ears out here so that the screw would then go down and trap this whole thing in place? But they didn't. This is the same piece. When I get inside, you'll see it. This piece right here is the same piece as on the inside. This is just kind of like a stiffener sort of a thing, made out of machined aluminum. And that also gives a place for this O-ring to go into. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't really make up. You can see, in the aluminum on the ano, kind of a witness mark from where I've pushed this up against it. But this doesn't really secure all that well. And I'll get to that in a minute. Also, from the logic board to wherever this stuff goes, just getting out of the controller, you have 3 connections. 1 on the logic board, 2 here, plus these. So at least 3 connections. And some things you have 4 or 5 connections. So they kind of went overboard on the connectors. And connectors are losses, okay? That's added resistance, that's more points of failure, things like that. I would definitely not go this route with all these connectors. That's not very good. That's definitely places for failures to happen. All right, so let's look at this thing here and this little pile of cables and show you what I mean. All right, so that one right there, that's kind of your COM connector, and you get this little Y cable right here, and cool that they included an enable switch. How many controllers do you run across, anywhere that you actually get an enable switch with it? It's almost unheard of. Anyway, so this will plug in directly to there, like that. And in fact, if you look on the shell, it shows you right there, SW. So, from probably the ground wire to here, I'm guessing, or maybe from the 5-volt wire, probably not 5 volts. It's probably ground to that wire, is what the switch contacts in here do. And when you close that, then this 5-volt line powers up, and that turns on the little halo LED ring that's on here with that 5 volts. So yeah, you know, there's like a second's delay when the little DC to DC inside turns on and powers this thing up. So that's what that one does. So if you were to plug this in directly, well, that's great. You could turn on the controller, but you can also see TX and RX and A1 and A2. So there's your analog inputs, ADC 1 and 2, and there's your UART right there for, like, say, a De-X LCD, or for, in this case, probably your Bluetooth module, and you probably put your De-X or something over here. Anyway, so they have been kind enough to include this little Y cable. So now, if this is plugged in here, now you have a separate connector for your enable switch, so that's cool. And then you have all of your comm stuff brought out to here. So now that all this stuff, it's, you know, it's all right there. So let's say you're going to plug in your Bluetooth module, of which I have it, wherever the heck I put it, right here somewhere. There it is. Here's your Bluetooth module. So, you know, it's using TX and RX, 5 volts, and ground. So if I have this cable plugged into here, so inside here is 1, here's 2, here's 3, and here is connector number 4 to finally get Bluetooth plugged in. And now I don't have access to ADC 1 and 2 because, well, they're not in here. They're not in this connector. And they didn't give me extra wires to put in there or put them in the cable to begin with to be able to get to ADC 1 and 2, which you flat out want to have. You know, most people do if you're going to put this on an EV. You know, it's unless you're using like a Bluetooth throttle. Otherwise, you're going to want to have physical throttles plugged in. So that's kind of an odd little arrangement there. But yeah, they also, though, give you something else. So here is this cable right here. So here is all your wires right there. So you can plug that in here too. So you got to choose. Do you want ADC 1 and 2, not use TX and RX, because, you know, that's on this little gizmo, right, to your Bluetooth module, and then there's no connector here for Bluetooth. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool that they included all this stuff, but then it's like they didn't think it through all the way, that people were going to want to have Bluetooth, and they're going to also want to have ADC 1 and 2. So you can have one or the other, but not both, with the wiring that it comes with. All right, so anyway, yeah, interesting, and a ton of connections, which I don't prescribe to. That's not a very good idea. Yeah, literally 4 connections, plus whatever it is that you do on the ends of these wires. So that's probably 5 connections, whatever you do here. You know, and that's still going to be wherever the controller is. Plus, it's going to be whatever you have, like on your throttles and stuff. You've got connectors there. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of connectors here. That is points of failure just waiting to happen. All right. Oops, I still wanted to think. So this cable right here, this is your Hall's cable. So you can see, yeah, blue, green, and yellow. So that's your 3 Halls. And there is temp sensor, 5 volts, and ground. And there is a connector here for that too. So that's this one. Plugs in there. So, you know, that makes it pretty simple. What you do with this is up to you. And these are all JST2 connectors. So, you know, if you want to make your own cable that's longer or something like that, JST2 kits are very easy to get. You can find them on eBay, Amazon, and they're not very expensive. So you can crimp your own cables. So I do like that aspect of it. And in fact, you know, in implementing this controller for this thing right here, the first thing that would happen is I would plug in everything through one cable right here, including the switch, plus TX and RX for Bluetooth, plus ADC 1 and 2, and just completely eliminate that Y cable plus all the other stuff. So it'd literally be like one connection for all that stuff. Yeah, which would eliminate, you know, multiple other points of failure. All right, so these other 2 are the 3 right here. So that one right there, you can see it here somewhere, so wherever it is. Yeah, right there. So, you know, that's your servo connector. You've got this other UART right here, you know, what you would probably use for like a De-X. That's one of those 2. I don't remember which one it is. And then you also have CAN here. So don't know which one of those is CAN. You know, and the pinouts and the colors are exactly the same. So make sure you get the right one, because, you know, the wrong one isn't going to do squat for you. But, yeah, some of this stuff I don't really care for. There's way too many connectors here. And in fact, I'm going to eliminate a lot of that stuff. So I will talk about that in my next video, just wanted to give you a quick rundown of all the things that you get and some interesting attentions to detail and other things where you're left scratching your head. Do like having a Bluetooth or a USB cable included. That's definitely kind of nice. Alright, well I think that's it for this video. Next one is going to be an overview where I take this thing out of its shell and talk about the stuff inside and also that as well, how that plugs in.